Oh, welcome everybody to a special brunch. Listen. I called an emergency meeting, boys. You were there. It was last night. You were like, what's going on? I'm like, emergency meeting. I know we had this amazing brunch planned where we were gonna talk about the best best fight
One-hit
scene
wonders.
Yeah, we had this really crazy good brunch scheduled, and then I saw something online stop me dead in my tracks. They are officially calling March 20th Rad Day, and a theatrical double feature celebration of Rad is going to be in theaters nationwide, featuring a 4K remastered screening of one of the most incredible cult classic films of the 80s, and they are world premiering after it is over a documentary, an hour-long documentary about Rad called A Rad Documentary. I was like, we have to do everything we can to talk about
A
this.
Rad Documentary.
Yeah.
A radical documentary about Rad.
Pretty sick.
You know it's going to be rad. I mean, it's in the name.
It's in the damn title.
So,
Yeah, Michael called us at 1 p.m. in the afternoon on Saturday, and AJ and I both woke out of our drunken stupors, and we're like, oh, yes.
of course.
Call to arms. We got like the spidey senses of Rad Day approaching.
Truth.
Well, what I wanted to do, and this is why this is so important, is I reached out to Kyle at Utopia Movies. So this documentary was directed by Michael Kirsch, and it's going to be released in the theaters on March 20th. But Utopia Movies has a hand in it, and I was like, we got it. We have to watch. I want to see it ahead of time. I have to be able to talk about it and tell our audience about it. So they sent us a pre-screening of the Rad documentary, which we have watched, and we're not going to spoil it for you, but we do want to talk a little bit about why it is so important that if you love Rad and you love movie experiences and you love 80s movies, it is of utmost importance that you go to the theater on March 20th. It's probably playing in your town, and it's going to be an experience like no other. I cannot wait to sit in a movie theater and watch a 4K restoration of Rad.
Isn't it a Phantom event? Like they're going to do
I think so, yeah.
the movie and the documentary simultaneously?
It's all, it's back to back. So it's movie and then documentary. 2.5 hours of your time. It's going to be incredible.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, we got a chance to watch the documentary, and it's just as fun as the movie, to be honest. Because they're just talking about the movie, which is great. But I think this restoration is the Vinegar Syndrome 4K restoration, which you have, AJ.
Yes.
The beautiful disc. I think it's out of print now. So yeah, definitely catch this in theaters because that's the best way to see it.
It could be here, actually. I could have brought it in for this, for when we actually did it. But
You could have.
it's possible. It's possible.
Yeah.
It might be floating around here. But no, I have it. I've watched it. Came with a dope poster as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I watched it like 3 times when you got it for me.
I was trying to find. So we actually did an episode on Rad where we did a full blown review of it back in January of 2022. So feel free to go listen to that. But I wanted to mention a few things about this documentary. It's really fun to me. No mistake here. Like Rad is one of my favorite movies ever from childhood. We rented it every day.
Not according to your rating.
Well, those are modern day ratings. But the worst part about the 80s growing up there is that there was no such thing as DVDs. There was no special features. They didn't have all that behind the scenes stuff. It ended up being like folklore of like, did you hear this? Did you know this?
If they did behind the scenes stuff, it was for like the ABC crew to go in there and promote the movie. It wasn't like, this is how they did this shot.
It wasn't, here's a top secret thing of how we figured this out. And the documentary really helps tell some of those tales, I thought. You've got great interviews with Hal Needham, we'll get to him.
Yes.
Crew Jones, who plays Crew Jones, that's Bill Allen. Bill Allen's in there. The guy that plays Kyle is in there. He's got some amazing parts, but this is just so much fun to learn about what they went through to make this movie, because a lot of the stuff I've only read in like IMDb, but to hear them talk about it and tell us some of the things I didn't even know about the movie is worth the price of admission alone for me.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like sometimes we do episodes for movies, and a lot of times, maybe a little bit at least, that the research involved makes me like the movie a little bit better.
Yeah.
Because I know how they made it, and I can see like the behind the scenes of like how fun it seemed to be on set, you know. And if this was out when we did Rad, I probably would have bumped it up a little bit, because the cheering nature of everyone involved is just like, yeah, man, we did that and that was cool, and then we did this and that was cool, but Hal Needham, man.
Can we take a moment?
We take a moment about on the old Hal Needham.
He's probably the majority of the documentary. Like if you took every person that's talking, I bet he talks almost the most. And I've never seen Hal Needham in person. I've never heard him talk. I just know, oh, he's the guy that did Smokey and the Bandit.
He's a stuntman before
You
that.
love him?
He was
you need him. It's Hal Needham.
He was the stuntman. Hal Needham was who Brad Pitt's character was based off of in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're like, oh, I'm sure he's a pretty cool guy or whatever. This dude steals the show in this documentary.
I think so. I think he does. I mean, he gives such great insight. It's like he just got done filming the movie.
Yeah. And he clearly
That's
did not.
the cool thing.
And he's
he remembers everything.
He's at like an event of like a BMX event while they're interviewing him.
Yeah.
And he's probably just there to like sign stuff, which is just super cool too. you know?
I mean, so his other big claim that he's has like 10 directorial
Yes.
movies,
Yeah.
I think. But he said, like, you know, of the other ones, like obviously Smokey and the Bandit, he would say, is his other big one. And Hal Needham is a great stunt guy. You know, he's like, haven't you said before, Sean? He's like the original, right?
Yeah, I mean he's one of the top up there. He was one of the go-tos.
Then turned director.
Yeah.
And like I never thought of it this way, of how much of a stunt movie this actually is.
It is a stunt movie.
I never thought of it in that way, which maybe that's a testament to how it's put together.
Agreed.
But I never thought of it that way until like actually seeing the doc.
It's another standout. We won't spoil a bunch of it because we really want you to go out and see it. Like,
I hope I'm not spoiling it.
No, we're not spoiling it at all. Another highlight for me was Hollywood Mike Miranda.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He was always one of my favorite parts of the movie, just because like he was so terrible. Like, didn't he crash 3 times?
Yeah. 2 or 3 times.
And we're like, oh, this guy sucks. But then to find some of the backstory of how he became the one that did all the crashes, it's just so damn cool to hear these people talk about our favorite movie from childhood like this and be like, oh, that makes total sense.
And Mike talking to Hal about those scenes. And Hal being like, I totally get it.
Yep. And that whole process is really interesting too. You have all these guys who are essentially your stunt guys, young BMX bike guys, and they're essentially your stunt crew that, that they have to work together to try and get these things done, and how much stuff, whether it was written, whether it wasn't written, whether it was a spoof or whatever, if it got caught on camera, like how they got paid, if they got paid, like all that stuff. It's really cool to see how that works out.
Yeah.
But just right there sometimes in the moment.
It was cool to see also some of the, like what Bill Allen stories of, one of his first things that he's done working with like Talia Shire, her producing and starring, or having a role in it. Pretty much him being like, yeah, she was like my mom on everything, because she's my boss technically, and she plays my mom in the movie, And I think in our episode when we were talking about it, I was just like, she seems like very mean.
I don't think I've ever seen her like smile more than a millisecond.
Yeah, I know.
In any movie she's ever been in.
And like I get the sentiment now. Obviously that's what they were going for in the movie, but like having Bill Allen talk about it as like, oh no, she's like putting up the money, some of the money for this movie. So I was like, oh, like, she's probably on set being like, get the shot.
Yeah. Well, and he did talk about her. And I remember us kind of talking about how, I don't know, it seems like maybe she's phoning in a little bit here and there, like in the actual movie. And then this kind of gives you some more insight into that, like you're saying, of just like, oh yeah, she's got a lot in this, I guess. She's got she's like, she might be working harder than ever. Who knows?
Because she was married to Schwartzman.
Yes.
Who was the producer of the movie?
Yeah, they were a producing team. They had their production company.
Because it
together.
says like a Talia film at the beginning or something like that, or Talia film or whatever. Yeah, it was also interesting to realize. I think we touched on it on our episode a little bit. Was that this was kind of a flop?
Yeah,
I mean, like they had a budget, they put in some money, they really to hear them even talk about how the word rad was like an unknown word, and the general public was like, "What's rad mean?"
Yeah,
apparently, like even the poster had a definition of what rad meant. It's like, oh wow, yeah, that's 40 years ago, so I can understand how this would have been kind of a weird flop of a movie.
Yeah,
but that's what's so brilliant to me about that era is that this movie could have been left to dust and just came out in the theaters, flopped, went away. But because it became what it did to all of us as kids, that is the reason why we're sitting here 39 years later having a rad day with a documentary and this movie being in theaters because of how much it captured us as kids. It's just so crazy to think back to that time and when movies just, that's it. No internet. If you don't talk about it with your friends or rent it from Blockbuster, it's done.
Yeah.
It is a true cult classic at this point by definition, Didn't go over great in the theaters, and everyone was pretty bummed about that, and then it just gained this resurgence and like slowly this like following of people who just would watch the movie over and over again. I remember telling you guys the first time I was like watching this movie a ton was at a camping trip that was getting rained out. It was like in the process of getting rained out, and my dad in his like truck, he had one of the little DVD players that's a screen like this big, and this was the one VHS in the frickin' truck. We watched this like 3 times a day for like 4 days because we were getting rained out on this camping trip.
Sounds like a great camping trip.
Oh man, it ended up being fun. But no, that's the thing. It's like we were so entertained by this movie, and big part of that probably is the music though too.
I mean, I was just gonna say, like, is it the same movie without the bike scene or the bicycle boogie, and them kind of explaining how they did that as well. I mean, you can kind of see how they did it, obviously, where he's like, I got my stunt people to, double them, but then the close-up shots is like, I just put him on a thing and just like kept the bike still and had him like kind of dance around on it.
It actually made me appreciate it a lot more, like now knowing some of the stuff behind the scenes.
What else are you gonna? How else are you gonna shoot that? Like that's how I would probably do it,
But you never think about it, like in watching the movie, like doing this behind the scenes stuff and like kind of learning how the sausage is made. I always sometimes say, at your own risk, but like this is so fascinating to watch. It's like it's so worth seeing because I want, it's a movie that I want to understand more about, and like thank God they made this documentary that it's like we finally get to see how some of this stuff was made. Like the curtain is pulled back a little bit, and Eddie Fiola, who was Crew Jones.
So the last time we talked about this movie, we mentioned that this was kind of loosely based on like Eddie Fiola, and he was the one that did the stunts for Crew, and you're like, okay, cool, whatever. But now to actually hear him in the documentary and see him in the documentary and hear him talk about his experiences, like completely enhanced everything I thought about the stuntman in this movie.
Yeah, 100%. And like, and then I started looking around and I started to realize, like, even in the, this is just my own observation, but like even in like watching this again, I realized, like, you see they introduce Eddie Fiola up there, right? And he's got that helmet with like the mohawk on it. And I'm like, you never really see him again in the Helltrack scenes with that helmet on.
Nope.
I almost never see him again.
Guess why? Because he was riding his crew. He's riding his Crew Jones.
I was like, oh, this makes a lot of sense. Okay.
It was super cool. So let's dive into this a little bit, because I kind of do want to revisit this movie, because we watched the documentary. Then I know we all rewatched the movie for the 100th time. But the cool thing for me was when Hal Needham brought up the music. He's like, yeah, we got to talk about the music of this movie. He goes, they came to me with these songs and I was like, wow, that's good music. Like to hear him like kind of genuinely talk about how excited he was about the music. And this intro scene for me is one of, if not the best moments of this movie. When the credits roll and the little bit of Break the Ice starts,
Yeah.
and they start for 4 fucking minutes doing insane BMX tricks that at the time not many people had probably seen. I never saw anybody do any of that back when I watched this movie. To Break the Ice, like, I don't know if there's a better intro in any movie in the history of the world. I seriously don't. And they said apparently they wanted Jump by Van Halen.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm like, no. I think if any popular song like Jump by Van Halen had been in the place of this, I don't think we're sitting here talking about this.
I don't think not like this.
No.
Like Jump is a great 80s
Get it?
song.
Because they're jumping on the bikes.
Oh,
Whoa.
that's fun.
That's
fun.
cool.
But you're right, it's too on the nose,
Yes.
you know? And like Break the Ice comes out and like you're trying to assimilate it with this, and I'm not saying that it perfectly does, but for some reason, you're right, that introduction and the way that this just kind of rolls in and you're watching these guys do stuff like you said, like no one's ever seen it. You kind of, and then you kind of realize too, like how much of this is like almost revolutionary in the bike world. And like
At this point, had there been an extreme sports movie?
there was like, I think there was like a couple random ones, wasn't there?
When was Gleaming the Cube?
That's the only one I was going to think
Thrasher
of.
before this.
Thrash-
Thrashin'.
Yeah. That
Gleaming
and-
the Cube was 89.
Okay.
Thrashin' was 86.
Oh, so same year.
Same year, let's see, the August, so that's after this. They probably made Thrashing because of this.
Oh, probably. Yeah.
It's just wild to me.
Well,
I mean,
can I comment on
yeah,
the song?
please.
Break the Ice compared to Jump. Jump seems like, you're right, a little too on the nose and like kind of a little too kitschy. It's a fucking sick ass song.
Great song. Yeah.
But Break the Ice seems like the song that has like heart to it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I feel like that's where this movie's kind of in it for us, you know? Where I don't think Jump would have been like, oh, rad. It'd been like, rad.
Every time I sit and watch this movie, when this scene happens, I stand up.
I feel like
I stand up and I'm like,
I feel like you get emotional, Mike.
I do.
But like if it was Jump, I feel like you wouldn't. You know what I mean?
No.
You know, yeah.
These are the songs that bring out the emotion, and it happens 3 times that I can really think of throughout the movie.
Duh.
And it's the obvious ones, but this is what it is. It's a kitschy movie without these songs. Does that make sense? Because there's a kitschiness to this movie that we should revel in, that we do revel in. But at the same time, there's something about this that, like you say, Sean, it brings the heart to it to make it like, yeah, I'm bought in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here for it.
Yeah,
like,
let's see where this movie goes.
And you could like I don't know, someone who's just like kind of hate watches movies.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, could watch this and be like, God damn, it's just like, it's so like
80s cheese.
it's so cheesy. But like, I don't know. I think that like I said, like where its heart is at is trying to get you along with it, and I think it does a great job of just like kind of
100%.
pulling you in for a, you know, I'm gonna say not like a very, very well acted movie.
Yeah.
I still care about Crew Jones.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly. And also, like inside of this like opening scene, I also want to comment on this. I compare this movie very much to kind of like almost like a superhero origin story about how you see their costumes and outfits.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like what they're going to wear for the big moment. Like they need this BMX gear back, guys. These outfits.
This is so awesome.
These need to come back. Like that dude is wearing like the GT outfit.
yes.
The white with like the blue, green, whatever. Oh man. I'm like, these guys look so badass too.
When I was a kid, I had in between the walk from my house to Doozle's,
Yes, of
which
course.
if longtime listeners will understand where that is in Florissant,
Ice
Missouri.
cream
but-
shop in St. Louis.
Yep, Doozle's. There was a shop, a storefront shop that sold bikes, and they had a GT Interceptor that sat in the front window that every day of my life for like 3 years I walked by and I went, it will be mine.
You were like, Wayne.
oh yes.
Pulling away.
It will be mine. And it was never mine. And
He does this every Friday.
it was never mine. I never got it. But like the only reason I looked at that as the greatest thing that was ever constructed in the history of man was because of this movie.
Oh, sure.
Those bikes and those dudes on it, and it's the one cool thing they pointed out in the documentary about this opening scene was that foggy street.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dude, I thought that was just a choice they made to be like, oh, cool, we're gonna like fog up this street. That was actual fog. One morning when they got there, they were supposed to be in like some skate park, and it was so foggy that they couldn't film in the skate park. So they just made the choice to film on the street with the fog in the background. You can't get that lucky in everyday life.
Well, it just creates like a natural backdrop almost.
It's a lettuce moment.
Yeah, it gets you. It gets kind of rid of your depth of field, I guess, but kind of gives you like a backdrop of just like kind of gray, and so you can see these stunts being performed just in a kind of a palette,
right,
if you will. Yeah.
It just kind of creates like another layer of it, and plenty of the shots are plenty flashy and them flying up and doing other stuff, in different places. But those in particular, like those steady shots and them just coming in and out of frame.
Well, and then having like 3 deep of focus. There's like the guy that's like out of focus way in the front.
Yeah.
Then there's the guy in the middle that's almost perfectly in focus. And then there's the guy spinning around the back that's out of focus again. It's just a beautiful shot.
Well, one thing I really liked about this rewatch was, and I think it might be because of Hal Needham, but it being in 1986 feels like a 70s movie.
Ooh.
To me. Like I know they shot in Calgary, so like 70s movies always feel like hot to me, or just like kids running around. I guess Sandlot-esque, with his buddies, Becky and Kyle.
It's Kyle.
His buddy
Kyle.
Is that his buddy?
I don't think it's Kyle. Let me find out.
Luke.
Good call.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems very, very kind of 70s kids movie to me, and I really like that vibe a lot. It doesn't seem, I mean, the music makes it seem extremely 80s.
It's capital 80s because
but
of the music.
I don't know. It's the kids kind of riding around on bikes aspect as well, which also kind of got to me too, because I'm just like, that's kids' first mode of transportation, really, when they start growing up, and then to see this movie and be like, oh, we can do more with that, or like we can try and take it off like little jumps here and there.
Yeah.
I don't know how this wasn't just eaten the fuck up when it came out.
Yeah. I mean, I know like my brother Dave was a huge BMX.
Yeah.
Like growing up and everything. He had a like dyno, like nice, like super cool bike. Like he would work on it and all that, and
Put
then
it upside down and spin it around.
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah, just working on it. Yep.
He was, he was definitely somebody who was into it. My brothers have kind of had this, like a little bit of a resurgence of like getting BMX bikes and kind of like putting some together, and you kind of, it's like chopping them together, but just taking different pieces and whatnot. And I'm like, guys, I'm gonna bring out like Break the Ice. I'm gonna film you guys and put it to Break the Ice. Just doing old man stunt tricks, just endos and like stoppies.
Fuck, I could do it. I used to be able to do a good endo, bro.
Dude, I'm telling you, I was so good at the endo. So I could lay the bike down.
I was good at endos. You were good at Nintendos.
Yeah, that's right.
There's a really cool thing that the documentary brings up about. I never once questioned this ever in the 100 times I've watched this.
Yeah.
To me, Bill Allen was doing all the riding and all the stunts.
Yes.
And there was no question about that. Maybe some of the real hard stuff like the backflips, maybe they brought in a guy. No, Bill Allen barely knew how to ride a bike at this point. And once you know that, you can really find the difference between Eddie Fiola and Bill Allen when they are riding. And I do think this is one of the greatest uses of stunt people that we've talked about before. Like, we did Three Ninjas and the guy that's playing Grandpa, you're like, that's not Grandpa.
They put a couch pillow on his stomach.
This is there are certain moments where you're like, okay, yeah. But it's very hard to sometimes tell the difference between Eddie and crew.
Yeah.
The way they filmed it. Mm-hmm. It's really well done when it comes to getting these stunt people involved and having you not be taken out of it at all.
Because I think sometimes there's shots where I was surprised that it wasn't the stuntman. Like, I think it's Crew's like first race for the qualifying one.
Oh, okay.
Where he does kind of a stoppie into his friends. And I'm like, oh, well, they're gonna cut to like a close up of Bill Allen now. Yeah. And no, they didn't. Like, he took off his helmet and it was just Bill Allen. I'm like, oh fuck, okay. Like
when he crashed through that Helltrack fence during the paper route, that was Bill Allen. Like, he did it.
By the way, prop, I want the Helltrack.
The fence.
Okay.
I think I want like the sign.
Okay.
I did go back and listen to our props and punchable faces from the last episode. I don't think that's what you took. Are you changing it?
Yeah.
I think you wanted like Bart's. No, you wanted Bart's like cut off sleeve T-shirt that he had.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Do you still want that one?
I mean, no. But I can't wear it. I can't wear it. Come on, I can't wear it like he can. He's a gymnast. I didn't even know that. So, let me think on my prop. What do you know? What you were gonna do?
I have it here somewhere. So the one that I did take back when we did it was that fucking elephant sprinkler in the front yard.
That's right.
When they're going through.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I think I still want to have that. Yeah.
Okay. I want the this is what I want. I want the newspaper, that the right one that he finally gets with his sister signing for his mom that they forged together. I want that, and I want to hang it up on our wall.
Do you still have the same punchable face as last time?
I forget who it was.
Well, who would be your... Okay, if you forget who it was 3 years ago, who's your punchable face of this movie?
Well, probably Duke.
Well, mine's Mustache Magoo.
Who's Mustache Magoo?
Well, it is a new rule, and I hate to bring this up now, but this is all your fault.
Yeah. Wow.
Fuck you, dude.
Way to be subtle.
I hate to bring this up now, but this is all your fault. What a line.
What a line. Christian, what does that mean? Christian, I know what that means. Let's get out of here.
Let's get out of here.
No, our unanimous punchable face last time was the Bart Taylor kid. It's like, your brother's not as cool as Bart Taylor.
Oh yeah.
With the fucking hair.
She's just like, shut the fuck up.
They give him the shitty shirt. Like
that was our unanimous punchable face. And if I had to change, I might actually go. I still don't know the answer to this. I don't know if we ever figured it out last time. The mayor of the town.
Yeah.
All of a sudden is running the restaurant. Did you ever catch that?
Yeah, no, he kind of does so many things in town apparently.
He just doesn't get paid to be mayor, so he still owns the restaurant.
He was elected in the way that everyone should be, where he's just like a hesitant elected. You know, like he owned this restaurant. People just liked him. So like, you should do it because you have really good morals.
He does
rules. It though. Yeah,
still rules.
Still the rules. I don't like him either.
You. My other option is it's my punchable scene moment. And it is when Bob is talking to the lady and eats the popcorn.
I love Bob.
Fucking Bob. Oh,
Bob.
I'm sorry, Blob. I don't have a watch. That was a rewindable moment for us, 100%.
Name's Bob.
Bob. His name's Bob.
Blob.
Blob. Smart ass.
What does he say when he goes, hey, isn't that the kid you work with? Yeah, I hope he says, like, I hope he eats shit and dies or something like that.
I could have slapped the two girls for Bart. I could have slapped them when they came into the store when Becky was in there. And be like, isn't this cute?
You think Bart's gonna like
it? You think
it?
Luke will like it? And they're like, you think it's cute? You think Bart's gonna... I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Come on, Tiger, let's boogie.
It's still such a great... I still love the premise of the small town, which, by the way, they talk about in the documentary that this is actually Cochrane, Canada, the town of Cochrane that they filmed in, and they just brought in a bunch of locals and said, hey, you can be in it, and like you can be the guy standing there going, yeah. But it's such a great sentiment of the bringing in the rich, powerful, cool Hollywood youth into the small town of America, of Canada, and then that dynamic. That's something everyone can relate to. That's not like an 80s theme or anything like that.
No, like you can definitely tell though too, like in their not in a bad way. I'm not saying like in a bad way, like that it is like this production just kind of took over the town. Yeah. Kind of like what we talked about a little bit in like parts of like Snack Shack and stuff, like where they just kind of like took over parts of that town. It's like they just descended on this town and like kind of took it over. And it is, you can feel it just as if Helltrack just descended on this town and kind of took it over for a week.
And I'm sure
it's really fun.
I'm sure they, got people rallied together like they do for crew in the movie, making his shirts and everything like that. It's a small town, so I'm sure they're just like, everyone wants to be involved somehow. And I think that's really cool. And I think that's like a really cool thing about this movie is like, I don't know what's going to happen to crew after this. Like, maybe he'll leave the town, but I like that this moment in time is captured for us to just kind of revisit every single time, that's movies in general, I know, but like, just like the way that this movie pulls it off is so rewatchable in that aspect of, like, say if you were crew and you could relive the memory of you winning the championship in your town. Well, you can now because Rad is a movie. I don't, what I mean by
4K
that?
now too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, which is better than your eyes see.
That's what I hear.
That's what Sean told me.
Well, it's better than my eyes see. That's
yeah, dang.
Speaking of the ending, I was going to ask you, what if we got a Netflix TV show series spinoff where Crew Jones, after this was over, clearly now he owns his own destiny. He owns everything about himself, and he's got the backing of the town. He just won on national television. He beat Bart Taylor. This kid, he's not bound by like ridership. Like, no, he doesn't owe anybody money. He goes on to be one of the most successful BMX riders ever, makes millions of dollars, creates his own company, Rad, that now sponsors its own riders and gets into like X Games and all this stuff. Where now Bart Taylor has been completely down on his luck. Nobody would hire him after the end of that. Like, he had the race won, and he had to stop to be cool, and he Rex and Rod, he kicked him out. Bart goes down a bad path, and then one day we pick up 40 years later in the series where now we're Bart. It's very Johnny Lawrence.
You want a Cobra Kai?
Yeah,
You want a Cobra Kai Rad?
I want Cobra Kai Rad.
You want Cobra Kai Rad?
And I want where Bart Taylor now has to like restart riding bike. He's going to find a young kid that he can train how to ride BMX bikes.
Here's the thing. Because at the end, they raise that bike together like they're going to be on the same team, and they are for a little while. But Bart still has that itch to be number one.
He's edgy, man.
Yeah,
he's always got to be number one. He can't be backseat.
No. And by the way, that is so Karate Kid.
Yes.
The blonde guy who
We call him
offers up the trophy bike kind of a thing. Even he's like,
didn't we call him Bart Wish.com Johnny Lawrence? Didn't we?
makes perfect sense.
It's very Karate. When was Karate Kid? 84?
84.
Oh, shit. This is very Karate Kid.
It's very Karate Kid, but like, man, it's still great. I would love that.
In your series, though, we should have it so Luke is also down on his luck. But like ever since Crew left, Luke really had nothing anymore.
And Luke still
besides
thinks,
Becky,
Luke still thinks that if he had not gotten run off the course, that he would have won and he would have been. So he's been harboring this resentment forever.
He has that mangled bike on his wall and looks at it every single day, and just is creating so much resentment for Crew. After 40 years, 30 years, whatever.
Marta divorced him because she's like, you got to stop thinking about the past. He's like, no, that
He
should have
is-
been me. And every day he turns on the TV, there's a fucking commercial of Crew Jones is like, come on down to the bike warehouse. I got all these bikes.
Rad Warehouse.
Rad warehouse. And he's like, motherfucker.
So he's Uncle
like-
Rico.
Yes.
Okay, wait. Yes, Luke is Uncle Rico.
Yes.
Bart is Johnny Lawrence.
Yep.
Crew Jones is Ralph Macchio.
Yep.
Who's the old man teacher, though?
Oh, that's Timmers, Mr.
Mr. Timmer sticks around and invests in his company.
Yeah, he's the big investor.
He's the one that now Crew Jones tells his kids about to be like, we got to do it for Timmer.
Yep.
Timmer was the reason we're here today.
He's the Mickey in Rocky.
Right.
Pretty much.
I love you, kid.
Well, there you go, Netflix. You heard it here first. Intellectual property. We'll let you have it.
Yeah.
Just let us be.
A lot of money.
Right.
Well, not that much money, but we just need to be in it. We want to be actors.
Yeah, you need to pay us to be in it.
Let me direct an episode.
Oh, yeah. Let me pick the songs for an episode.
Yeah.
And Mike will be Steve Kuzer.
Yeah.
Because we all know that you guys are like, if Netflix called us up and we're like, we need you in an episode, you guys would do fucking awesome. I would do so bad. So I just need to be the guy that's like, And even then, they'd be like, "This guy fucking sucks." Which is why when I make fun of
No.
how bad the acting is in this movie, like it's with Jess because I'm a terrible
What
actor.
if you got the worst treatment because you don't really like freeze frame moments at the end of movies? What if you are the freeze
Every
frame?
episode that was
You're
the
just
joke.
like the most awful face.
Rad, rad.
Wow, rad.
Get ready to break the
ice.
ice.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Well, we wrote it. Can we at least talk about? It's still for me. It's the best scene in the history of the '80s. Is the bike dance, guys?
This was like formative for me. Like this scene, like I thought you could just do this.
You can.
You know what I mean? Like and like I thought you could just do this, but this song, when they come up over that camera, like and they drop into
That's
this,
pretty sick.
you're just like it's like a goosebumps, like kind of get ready. It's almost a stand-up moment.
No, it's
Mike.
a stand-up moment. I have never sat during this scene anytime I've watched it.
You're just like it just comes on.
Clapping on 1 and 3.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Oh, looks like Bard's gonna bicycle boogie for you. What's this?
Christian, just give us the sign when you're ready. No, this is what taught me maybe what like true love could be.
Yes.
Was when that slow motion scene of Lori Loughlin lovingly looking at him bouncing on the railing and spinning his bike around like
This is a if there was like blue lighting in this, like just shining on like and like maybe they were shirtless, this would be a sex scene directed by Tony Scott.
Yeah.
100%. This
Yeah,
is
you're
this
probably
is
right.
100% a sex scene.
Do you see when she goes backwards on the bike and slow motion thrusts into the bicycle seat?
It's sexual.
Yeah.
It's not sexual. It's fucking beyond that.
It's love making.
Yeah.
She's fucking a bicycle seat, dude.
Yep.
And I'm here for it.
Yeah. Well,
because she is gorgeous
in
in
white
this
pants.
movie.
Well, not her. It's a guy, but you know.
Yeah, this is the only. This is the
Well,
only
this is getting-
time. This is
Boy,
the-
I am confused.
Oh, I like her.
nice ass.
Ooh, I like her.
This is the only time where you're really like, okay, that's a stunt double for me.
Yeah.
It is this a couple moments in the bike dance, and then when they
go on their romantic dude.
when they go on their romantic bike ride through the park, that is a dude.
That's a man. Yeah.
And more props to that guy too, because he's wearing high heels in this bike dance scene.
It's crazy.
Dude,
amazing.
And they get to talk to that dude in the doc, by the way. You got to hear him talk about like those experiences. But it's just very funny. It's like this is capital 8 80s that should be capital 8 cheese.
Yeah.
And you're just like, but you just fall in love with this so hard. And I think that Lori Loughlin has a lot to do with it. I really did.
Bill Allen even says it. He goes, "We don't even need to have a backstory on this character. She just shows up and no one cares because
true.
she's so beautiful.
Yeah.
We don't know anything about her. We've never seen her ride. We don't know why she's there. Did she drive this red truck all the way from fucking San Diego,
California,
or wherever
whatever,
she is?
yeah.
Like, we don't care. We don't need to know anything because that first time we see her face, when crew turns around in the parade and looks at her, we're like, I'm in love.
Oh
Yep.
yeah.
Go.
I mean, also, do we ever discuss if this is like? I know they're bringing Helltrack to Cochrane,
Yes.
but is it like a traveling kind of circus almost ish kind of thing where they like? Because they even say they're doing shows. Or
Yeah.
like they're performing for the town, pretty much.
So maybe it's the summer where they're just going from town to town.
Is
It's
it? Do you guys get that vibe? And then they're also going to do a Helltrack.
It's like Nitro Circus or something,
Yeah.
like traveling around. It's like before the X Games or something, or
Well,
you
that is
know.
kind of what they did. I mean, if you go
yeah,
back and watch
okay.
like Bones Brigade and all that, like
Yeah.
there were skateboard competitions in different cities.
That's
and-
what
and there
wrestling
were-
does, is like
Yeah.
exhibitions through small towns and stuff.
And the sponsors come together, put on the event, have prize money to give away. By the way, $100,000 and a Corvette. What is that?
Crazy.
What is that in modern day?
I'll get you. because
I mean,
I had it. I remember. I think I had it for our last one, but
that is enough. In fact, it's wild that they're banking. You don't really care much about the plot of this because they're basically giving away a Corvette, $100,000, and paying for this insane track to be built that's never been done before, all to then hopefully sell bicycles.
Yeah.
Which is going to be, it has to be that many bicycles to make that money back plus profit. That's wild. I think the GT Interceptor that I wanted was like $250,
which was astronomical.
It was astronomical back then. So it's like, how much do you have to sell to make your money back on this?
Shit.
like, so you're talking $100,000 in today's money. You're talking about just shy of $290,000.
That's sick.
$290,000, and you think like a Corvette back then, that car would have probably been like what, like 15?
20, maybe.
Think about 20. We'll call it 20.
So let's call
like
it.
That's expensive back then, and so that would mean that's more like 49 or something like that, close to.
So if that plays well into our new Netflix series. I mean, Crew was rich at this point now.
Yeah.
He won all that money. And he owes nobody anything. This is how he builds his empire.
Yeah.
He it kind of got to his head.
Of course it did.
And he dropped Lori, Christian.
Biggest mistake of his life. That's a through line of the
That is a
series.
through line. She will come back later. It's Elizabeth Shue.
She's going to be showing back up in season 2.
Yes.
So.
He did eventually get with those two chicks that
he got with Tawny and Bambi.
Yeah, Tiger and Constance.
And now to the stage.
I do like that through line because it's the same thing for Ralph Macchio. I mean, come on, Elizabeth Shue, you're not going to get any better than that.
No.
You're not going to get better than Christian.
I'm a Becky guy myself, but
You're a Becky boy?
Yeah.
That's fair.
I like Becky.
Yeah.
Wait, from this movie?
Yeah.
Who's Becky? Oh, Becky is
Marta.
Okay. That was Marta her real name?
Marta's her
okay,
real name.
sorry. I said that earlier. Her name is Becky. Yeah. Little tomboy, a little
I don't know. There's something about her.
Something about her.
Yeah.
You know, upon current rewatches, I get where you're coming from. You know?
Yeah.
You know, look.
Good.
Christian's great. She's way too hot.
Yeah,
you can't. It's just too much, guys.
It's like watching Wolf of
handle
Wall
that.
Street. I can't watch it because Margot Robbie's too hot.
It's just.
I just can't do it.
It's just over the top.
Yeah.
Can we dumb her down a little bit, guys? Can we throw some dirt on her face or something? Just grab a handful of dirt, just throw it on her face really hard.
It's actually kind of doing it for me. I don't know.
That's helping. Actually, that's not. Oh, dang it! How do we do it? We can't.
If I was able to sit back down finally after the bike dance, I'm immediately standing back up for the Thunder in Your Heart qualifier.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
This is still, again, we're not going to spoil some of this stuff, but there's some incredible knowledge dropped on you about how they filmed this and some of the insane things that happened to these guys when they were doing it. And I thought the coolest part that they did share was that these are all pro riders. And they know they're filming it, and they know that they need to end in a certain order. But when they got to filming and racing, they couldn't turn that adrenaline off.
No.
And you can see it. I still am blown away. If you've ever tried to ride a one-speed BMX bike, to be able to go as fast and as hard as they're doing that in those straightaways is just unbelievable, and it amps me up so hard.
Those guys are pumping so hard, dude. Like. It's a one-speed bike, like you say.
They're hard to ride.
That they are, like, to get going is like a nightmare. And then, like, to be able to hammer, and you watch those guys just, it's like those bikes reach like 45-degree angles side to side while they're like hammering that like straightaway at the end, you know?
Well, I mean, it makes sense when you know that they're all listening to Thunder in Your Heart.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean... You got.
I could ride that fast right now if Thunder in Your Heart was playing.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, here, let me turn it on for you. No, I agree, and like, it's one of those moments where like, you can feel like when Bill Allen is like when Crew is just on the ground, you're just like, yeah, I get you.
He has to ride like 5 times. Yeah. That insane course.
Well,
Jesus.
I mean, you're essentially running, but like with resistance because you have to drive this chain. This is essentially how bikes work, guys.
Oh, okay.
But
while engaging your core for not falling over.
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I was watching it this time. I'm like, yeah. I remember like doing this as a kid, like trying to go as fucking fast as I could, and how exhausting it is.
Oh man, like,
good God.
it's amazing. It's amazing what the weight difference is from then to now, and how much it just ruins you.
Think about how much even those bikes weighed compared to what they do nowadays. Have you ever lifted up like a road bike before? You can just like 2 fingers just go whoop.
Yeah.
Like,
Not those bikes.
you can Tony Perkis that thing. You just like, I'm dogging it, Pat. Like,
Yeah. Come here, devil lord. But I do have a question. I don't know if we touched on this last time. Does Crew cheat multiple times?
We did touch on this, and I have a feeling that going off course is against the rules.
Not only does he coming down the hill, does he avoid all the weird tree roots and the step area and just goes around it, but the final race, he gets off of the dirt
It's
path
the stretch, and he gets onto the
and he
cement.
gets onto cement.
Yeah.
Clearly out of bounds, and then bunny hops back in, and nobody says a word.
that's the thing. It's like, maybe it's one of those things, like those barriers, like those are just like the standard park, like log barriers, like that are just in an 80s park.
No,
doesn't necessarily mean
there's like rope and flat.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
Yes,
there's
there
like
is.
ticker tape almost. Like,
There is, because they got to tell the audience where to stand and where they can't go.
Well, maybe that's the only thing it's there for. Is just say like, hey guys, this is where they're going to be racing through.
I see what you're saying. We were never like given a map
yeah.
or
See?
anything, but still, I'm just like, I've played a lot of games.
Look, he's getting creative.
You have to say, and even in Helltrack, he does that, oh my heart, a backflip. He backflips over the S curve.
Right. He doesn't
Which
take
means
the
he
S
doesn't
curve.
take the S curve.
Right.
That's cheating as well, right?
Well, that's the thing. It's like you know what?
Defend this.
Okay.
Go ahead,
All right.
man.
No. Hey,
dare
I've
you.
played plenty. I've played plenty of racing games
This
for
is why
Nintendo
Bart
64.
Taylor's so mad in the future series. Is he's like, no, you cheat. It was an illegal
There
kick
we
to the
go.
head.
No
See?
one
Illegal
noticed
kick to the
except
head.
me. Yeah.
Yep.
Ralph, hey, dude, Daniel cheated with an illegal kick to the head,
And
too.
by the way, if you also notice, because they cut away from it, but and I will defend this. Just shut up. I will defend this, but I will.
No.
I will give you one more to your credit.
No.
Actually, is that like on the cereal bowl with the spoon, when him
Yeah.
and Bart are going up, he ramps off. He doesn't go
doesn't
off
go on
the
the
spoon.
thing.
Yeah.
So he actually ramps next to it rather than.
Yeah, cheater.
That being said, I've played plenty of Mario Kart. I've played Excite Bike 64.
As long as you cross the finish line,
As long as you
man.
get, there are shortcuts, and they're sanctioned. Okay, so
It's whether you know about it or not.
look, if you don't at least try to make the cave on Turtle Beach, okay, on Koopa Beach, are you even trying to win? That's what I'm gonna say.
Oh yeah,
saying, man.
I forgot the scene where Crew ran into the magic mushroom and went faster.
Remember
See,
that?
you
Yeah,
remember.
I forgot
That's
about
in the.
that.
You
They talk
remember.
about that in the documentary.
Yeah,
Look,
they do.
I think.
Spoiler alert.
I think all is well that ends well after he takes that spill in the qualifier though, and
Dude.
gets freaking wrecked by that other dude.
I don't know if we talked about that, and I don't know
didn't.
if I noticed that until the documentary points it out, where he got actually rocked.
He
Yeah.
got, yeah, that
And
was
that was Fiola.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, like they spend some time on that. It's pretty intense.
yeah.
it was like, and getting to rewatch it, and like now it's kind of, you can't unwatch it. You can't not see it. Like when he takes that odd path, fumbles, and then
Yeah.
just knocked
The
in
fall
head.
itself is like, damn. And then like
Yeah.
he tries to get back up and gets fucking
And then
ran over
And then
in
you
the
notice
head.
the cut scene at that point. You're like, oh, there's the
Yep.
cut scene where
Yep.
they're like, stop.
And
Which is
Everybody
great.
stop.
Which is we get into Helltrack here soon.
Yeah, we can do
Oh,
Helltrack right now.
Let's
Yeah.
do that. But like as far as like Hal Needham goes with directing all this, I know he's like they say in the documentary too, is like Hal's super cool. Hal's so like down to earth, and he was so easy to work with because he knows exactly what he wants and knows when he gets it, and he gets it normally in like 2 or 3, you know, because he's just kind of putting the camera there and letting the stunts play out, which is I think how you should shoot stunts, you know. But I don't think we had this tidbit in our episode that we did, but the Helltrack it rained out several times. and it was just a huge mud pit. And this thing cost like, I think he said like $1 million
yeah,
to
maybe.
build.
Just that wall alone was like $100,000.
Yeah, that's it. But like building this whole track, and like you know, you want it to be safe for stunt peoples, and mud's not safe when you're going that fast. And so he's like, well, what we used to do was, you know, just kind of fly in some helicopters to dry it out. And he's like, so that's what we did. We just got a couple of helicopters to come in.
They floated helicopters over the track for hours at a time.
Just
Can you imagine?
unreal.
You got a kid, you got a baby trying to go to sleep for their afternoon nap
yeah.
at the house next door to Helltrack.
Oh yeah, it's super fun. You know that they're shooting a movie over here. Yeah,
Wow.
really. Yeah, they're building the track. It's just like kind of in the back 40 over here. You know, just.
I think it's
just
called
west of the-
Hellraiser or something.
Yeah, something like that. It's pretty fun. It's just west of the lumber yard. There is where they're building it all.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. You can even see it from here, and then you just wake up.
Oh, Becky, can I call you back? We're gonna go ass sliding with the new baby. Okay. I'll call you back. We got to get out of the house. The helicopters are back.
The helicopters.
That's a really fun thing that he talks about. Also, them talking about how the stunt riders spent like 3 days trying to figure out how to go down the wall.
Yeah.
I just assumed, oh yeah, of course, Helltrack, no big deal. Like the stunt riders do it. They pretty much refused to go down the wall.
Yeah.
Because they're like, no, we've never done anything like this before.
That's again, man. You think about it like, all you can do sometimes is like look at this from today's perspective of like what people are doing nowadays, and like in the X Games and doing all this crazy different stuff. And that's the thing is like, this is all very new, like unheard of kind of stuff that they're asking these guys to do on a track that is literally like just the wildest stuff.
Never been done before or since, anything like that.
And, you know, they were even saying like how a lot of tracks up to that point for like BMX is very flat. Like, yeah, there were some turns, but it's like if you didn't make the first turn, you know, if you made the first turn, you're probably going to win.
Yeah, if
That's how
you
these
came in first
tracks
coming
were.
out, you were good.
And like that's pretty much it. And like this was like revolutionary of an idea to put in a 25-foot drop, a 3-story drop to start this race.
Well,
and you got to do it 3-4 times.
Wasn't it the guy who they got to do the backflip
Yes.
for Crew Jones?
He was a
I
drywaller.
forget his name.
And he wasn't even a BMXer.
Jose.
Yeah, and yeah, you're right. He just wasn't.
He didn't actually. They were like he couldn't ride his bike from here to that wall over there
But
without
he
falling.
could. But he's the only one that could do a backflip.
He's the only one stupid enough to do a backflip, and they brought him in, which I guess.
and he's the one that first went down to kind of prove
Right.
that it was doable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And we think of a backflip as no big deal right now, but when this movie came out, no one had ever
Yeah.
seen a backflip ever,
Which is
on a
crazy to
BMX.
kind of think about because you're just like, yeah, what can't they do now? You know?
Yeah, they're like he even says they're triple backflipping snowmobiles.
Yeah.
This is like, of course I can backflip a BMX.
Yeah, Hollywood says that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He's like, I'm old as hell right now, but I could probably still do.
But at the time, are you kidding me? Not a chance could I do that.
Yeah, this is like just learning about how they had to kind of get this all together, how they shot it, how they would shoot these races in like segments, and how, you know, all these guys are like learning as they go because they're not actual stunt guys; they're just bike riders, and like figuring it out as they go, and having Hal Needham kind of as the spearhead of this to
Do
it and guide
Do
them
it.
and like get it. And he wants his shots and like very stern about what he wants, but also like in the same vein, like trying to protect his people. It's such a fascinating watch.
I liked how he was talking about filming the bike scenes, and the stunt people and the actual BMXers were like, so yeah, we're just gonna do a run through the whole track, right? And he's like, well, no, because that would take forever. We're gonna spend like an hour to 2 hours on this one chunk of track because this is where my cameras are set up right now. And once that's like, it's filmmaking, obviously, where you're just like, you're not gonna have them
ride it 5 times,
and then we'll
Right.
wait for you to come back down. It's like, no, we're gonna keep the cameras here because we got the light and we got our setup. So like, we have to take care of this spot right now, you know. And the bikers were just like, what the fuck?
Here's 30 to 40 yards. Ride your bike through this stretch of like the track.
All right, now do it again.
Do it again.
Do it again.
And do it one more time.
Oh, nope. Crew's supposed to be in first place coming out of this. Do it again.
Yeah. Like, and then, okay, now you guys go hang out for like 2 hours. We're going to reset for this other place.
Yeah.
It's like,
That sounds terrible.
yeah, it's like, oh, I have no idea. Like, it's all seamless, you know?
Well, if you want to hear a full-blown review of Rad, go back. I'll put a link in the notes, but on January 5th, 2022, we had our full-blown treatment of the episode. It's a lot of fun. I listened to it. Let's give let's give the opportunity for a new modern-day rating. We've watched the documentary. We've rewatched the movie. I want to at least offer you an opportunity to re-rank it. So overall, we were a 7.17. I was a 6.9. AJ was an 8.6. Sean was a 5.
And you guys have been wanting me to revisit this one.
It's true.
So
It's very true.
What do you? I'll start us off. When we do this show, it's sometimes very hard to strip away nostalgia. I think I did a good job of doing it to my best ability last time, where, God, this movie gets me. Like, it amps me up. Overall, you take away a few scenes, you take away a few song choices. It's not being talked about on the show, but it's still so special to me. I forever will be able to watch this movie. I will never get tired of it. I cannot wait to show my daughters this movie to see if they like it. Every time we do the revisit, I seem to like it a little bit better. Mm-hmm. I know we did that with Goonies. I was a 6.9. I'm trying to be realistic here. I do feel like our modern day group rating is pretty accurate. I'm going to bump up to a 7.25 on this movie. I love it so much. Trying to wipe away that nostalgia. That's where I'm going to be at 7.25.
okay, yeah. I'll go, AJ.
You should.
Okay, so I think I had fun with this movie when we first did it, and I think I had fun making fun of it more than I had fun with watching the movie. And I still probably would.
Yes, of course.
But after this documentary, like it does change my kind of overall look at the movie a whole lot, especially Hal Needham. Especially just like his like overall like proud nature and love,
his charisma.
And I can see it on the movie now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Call.
And so for that, this movie deserves to be at least a 7, but I'm gonna go 7.1 on this. This is fun, and I definitely like the 70s kind of summer vibe for me is there. So I think I'll probably revisit this once it's like real hot out and it's time for another rewatch.
AJ, this may have been the definition of not being able to push away the nostalgia. Perhaps when we first did this, how do you still feel like it's an 8.6 by chance?
So yeah, you guys were definitely wrong, and I was right. I'm not changing my score at all.
Hell yeah!
I love the documentary, and it does improve. It makes it a more. I love these insights. Learning more about a movie that I already love. Learning new things about a movie that I've examined and like that we have watched critically is amazing. That being said, like, and I want to watch the documentary again.
I do too,
because I really do. Like, I really want to watch the documentary again. That being said, like, it doesn't change anything for me of how much I enjoy and love the movie, and I was right the first time. It's an 8.6, guys.
So just for anybody playing along at home, an 8.6 for AJ means that he thinks Rad is better than Field of Dreams,
Hands
The
down.
Sandlot, The Shining, The Fugitive, Jurassic Park, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Gladiator, A Christmas Story, Donnie Darko, Home Alone, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Happy Gilmore, Tommy Boy, The Princess Bride, Tombstone, The Thing, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Napoleon Dynamite, Top Gun, Blazing Saddles.
If you think about what it did for movies.
Well, shit. No.
And BMX culture.
Have you ever considered the underlying subtle nature of the lighting? About how the purple sky kind of shines through?
I fucking love that part.
If you play back
Listen.
Thunder in Your Heart if
you reverse it.
0.5 speed.
So guys,
is Rad 8.6 or is Thunder in Your Heart 8.6?
yeah, or is Lori Loughlin an 8.6?
She if we were talking Lori
she's a
Loughlin,
10 out of 5,
like a
dude.
10 out of 5. Like, did you see that mongoose like suit that she's wearing? It's
Saw
like,
it.
what are you doing to young men?
Yeah.
And women.
So that takes we went from a 7.17 up to a 7.65.
Okay.
Lovely.
That is not quite as good as Monty Python and the Holy Grail, Napoleon Dynamite, That Thing You Do, but it is better than The Warriors, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Heathers. It's okay. That's why, Sean, this is why we do this.
No, this is
why we do this.
This is why I need to be an 8.6. Okay? That's why I need to be an 8.6.
So it can be there.
Because this is how we get our final ratings, and I think that is wonderful.
We truly highly recommend that you guys all go out, go online, type in Rad Day, A Rad Documentary, Fathom Entertainment. Click in there to find out where it's playing. This is coming out this week, March 20th, one day only, a theatrical double feature celebration of Rad, 4K remastered screening, and the world premiere of the Rad Documentary, which we have seen and we love, and we really think you got to go watch it. Like if you're here now, an hour into this, listening to us talk about Rad for the second time,
You should have already bought your ticket.
your ticket should have already been bought.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, hands down. Like if you watch this movie and you understand the movie, you have liked the movie at any point in your life, there is no reason that you haven't bought a ticket yet.
Truly, it made me bring this up 2.1 points.
Yeah.
So there
That's
you go.
pretty massive.
Yeah.
So get out there, go see the movie, and we will catch you next time.
Yeah, we will.
I suppose.
We'll probably be back.
I hope so. Jesus.
You never know.
Okay. Bye.
Rad.
Rad. Rad dude.
Rad.
He's my punchable
Gnarly.
face. That guy.